Praise the Lord once again, everybody, and welcome to Harmony Place. I'm Teresa Ashley Couch, and this is Harmony Place. And with us today is Pastor Minnie Ward. And what we're talking about today is homosexuality, and this is such a deep subject, and it really needs to be dealt with. And so I want to ask you, first I want to ask you how you know so much about it, because people need to know. Because you pretty much, as far as I'm concerned, you're an expert at this, and they're getting ready to know why. So why is it you have an expertise at this? What's your expertise at this?
Well, first, because the Word teaches that, but not that this is greater than the Word, but to go along with it, because I once was a lesbian myself.
And that's what I wanted to know.
And first-hand experience, I mean, I know what happened was I couldn't understand why. I understand what most people feel. Some people feel God created them that way, because even from a little child, I felt, and I couldn't understand why. I would say to myself that my mother, you know, born me, my dad born me. I mean, why am I like this? Mama has 10 kids. Why am I like this? Either mom gay, daddy gay, somebody ain't telling me. I mean, I came as a baby. I didn't make myself, I wouldn't make myself be that way. So what happened? So what happened is that not being brought up in a Christian home where the Word was there, the devil was able to lie to my mind. And what happened when I got a certain age, I was able to carry out all those lies. So I thought I was created that way. And you know, sweetheart, the same way you walked down the street with your boyfriend hugged up is the same way I walked down the street with my girlfriend. It wasn't, I wasn't in no closet. I was just straight out. And I would go to prison facing 25 years. And that's where I accepted Jesus Christ as my personal Lord and Savior. And I was reading a book by Fred Price. Can't really remember the name of the book. I got saved back in 1990, I believe, or 89, 90. And a question came up to me, and this question was in Romans. I was like, you know, in Hebrews, it says Jesus was tempted at all points such as I was. And you know, God will deal with you where you are, and at the level you're at.
That's where we already are.
Yeah, so I brought it up. My mother said, well, God, what you mean? Jesus was tempted to be gay? You know, because I couldn't get with that. And you know, God could handle me now. Some preachers couldn't handle that. But God could handle my ignorance, you know.
He can handle anything.
And
anything
so
we throw at
he
him.
says, yes, not so much that Jesus was so much tempted to be gay, but you know, he was tempted the same way as we were tempted. Lust of the eye, lust of the flesh, and pride of life. And that's where I got set free. And God began to tell me, you know, who I was. And when I got saved, I remember crying out. I was mad at my girlfriend. I was in isolation, got locked down, you know.
Was your girlfriend in prison?
Yes, everything was in prison.
Okay,
I met her in prison.
Okay,
I came to prison gay. I didn't come there.
Right, exactly. But so you had started another relationship when you got to prison, because you probably already had a relationship, ongoing relationship outside the prison. So that's what I'm trying to get at. Okay.
And what happened was, I remember the day Miss Sergeant Roy from the women's prison, she was telling me that, you know, Minnie, surrender to Jesus. I said, surrender? How do I do that? And she said, just submit to him. I said, how? She said, talk to him like you're talking to me. And when that cell door closed, it was like it was 1,000 feet thick. And I was afraid. I heard this voice say, be not afraid, I'll be with you always. And I prayed. I said, Lord, I don't know if I'm praying right or not, but for this one time, if I'm praying wrong, please allow it to be right for me. I said, I no longer want to be gay. I want to know the love of a man. I want my family to love me. And I no longer want to live in my flesh. And I said, give me a spirit of righteousness. Now, that was not my vocabulary. That was the Holy Spirit helping me. And from that day on, the Lord began to reveal to me who I was and what he created me for. He did not create me to be gay.
And he knew your heart. He knew your heart, because a lot of times, because I want to back up just a little bit, since he knew your heart, because you have a lot of people that are in prison, because we both have done prison ministry, so we know a lot of people that play that little game professing Christ. But what they don't realize
is religion.
And what they don't realize is, since God knows our heart, you know, so he knows where you are. So when you suck him like you did, he said, seek me. You know, seek me first. And when you were doing that, and he heard your cry, that's when he gave you deliverance.
That's right.
And he will do, and he still do that.
He
still does that. And people need to know that.
He beautified me, because see, I looked and acted and dressed just like a man. If you would have seen my nieces and nephews would say, hey, Uncle Minnie. If you would see me, kids on the bus would say, I was always bold. Kids on the bus would say, Mom, is that a man or a woman? I said, baby, I'm a woman. You see, it may freak people out. It didn't freak me out. My family accepted me the way I was. Nobody could run down the street and say, well, you know, Minnie gay. Hey, man, Minnie's cool. Everybody know that. I was just out front. But when God delivered me and began to beautify beautify me. Now, this is not braggadocious. This is to the glory of God.
Right, exactly.
But
and we want to always give him glory.
I am a beautiful, attractive woman. I say that now because you would have to have seen me then to appreciate where I'm at now. Exactly. Because, I mean, I wore the box haircut, wore the men's shoes. I mean, that was the way I was. Right. And when God began to beautify me, I'll never forget it. I was in prison, and God told me to put a perm in my head. And I got a perm and all that. You know, I had the box here, but my hair grew on the top.
Right.
And then one day, about 2 months later, he said, put a skirt on. I said, I can't do that. Now, God, I'm going to have to serve you in pants. You're going too far from me. But eventually I put the skirt on, and just how the devil will always try to, you know, lie to your mind. He said, you're going to look like, and I don't know if this word would be politically correct, but he said, you're going to look like a faggot if you put on a skirt. Because you come here looking like a dude.
Because he wants you to think that anyway.
Right, he didn't want me to put the skirt on because he didn't want me to see what God had really put in me.
Exactly.
And when I put the skirt on, one of my ex-girlfriends said to me, Minnie, you have beautiful legs. And all the lies he tried to tell me to get me to stop doing what God wanted me to do. But God began to beautify me. And one day I was coming down the hall. But I still walk like a guy. I can't do it now because I'm really delivered.
You are totally delivered.
Yeah, I'm bona fide delivered.
I'm noticing that because I know people that weren't even gay, and that you're more feminine than they are. So God has truly delivered.
I'm truly delivered. It's just a hug.
People need to know that.
Yeah.
Who the Lord sets free is free indeed.
Yes.
And they need to know that there is deliverance in Him. And that's why we have you here today.
Yes.
And we want you to let them know the different scriptures. We have a couple of scriptures already going out, but we want you to let them know the different scriptures, because you have people today in this society, because you have bishops now that are homosexual, and they try to clean it up like it's okay. The Bible still says the same. Nothing's changed. God is still the same today, yesterday, and forevermore, and we know that. So the people that are trying to make it seem like He's not, that's why I have you here today to let them know otherwise, because He's not accepting that.
No, he's
not accepting that.
And the book of Romans teach that in the chapter 1, verse 18. Just listen what it says. For the wrath of God is revealed from heaven against all ungodliness and unrighteousness of men, who hold the truth in unrighteousness. Now, what that means, when they hold the truth, they suppress the truth because of their unrighteous acts, because of what they want to do. You know, what they do, they suppress the truth. They hold the truth back. They don't allow the truth of God's righteousness to come forth because of their unrighteous deeds.
Exactly.
And they say, like, God understands. God made me do it. No, God doesn't understand that.
They just choose to be that way. They choose to operate out of the flesh. And so when you choose to operate out of the flesh, of course you're going to suppress those things.
But the word to catch here is the wrath of God.
Exactly.
Now, if God made you that way, God would be wrong to make you that way and then send His wrath on it. But I want to say something. Our topic happens to be homosexuality, but if a man is with a woman and heterosexual and not married, it's just as wrong as two men and two women.
Because sin is sin.
Yes, I'm not zeroing out homosexuals or lesbians. That just happens to be our topic. Sin is sin at any level. There's no big sin or little sin. But then if we go on to read in verse 19, it says, because that which may be known of God is manifested in them, for God has shown it unto them. In other words, every human being, whether saved or not, has within them, because God has put within them, we all have a longing. God has put that in us to know that this ain't right. We can even know it just by looking at nature, just by looking at the animals. There's a way by we can know God has revealed this to us. Now, we suppress it because of what we want to do. But you can't get over the word. God said, I have revealed it. It's in you. And you know the difference. But we will lie because of what we want to do.
Our flesh.
But the bottom line is that God, this is not so. And let me just take you to verse 25. It says, who changed the truth of God into a lie and worship and serve the creature more than the Creator. Who is blessed forevermore. Now verse 26, listen what it says. For this cause God gave them up to vile affections. He's calling it vile affections, evil affections. Now if God made you this way, and if
why
this
would
lifestyle,
he call it that?
Why would he? And I wouldn't serve a God like that.
He wouldn't do anything vile.
Exactly. For even the woman did change. Now when we read the book of Malachi in chapter 6, in chapter 3, the book says, God changed not. God ain't changing. So even though this thing has come on the land, man has changed from what is natural to what is unnatural. God said from day one, my word will not change. God made Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve.